Hi, sixth graders. Today we are learning about unit rate. The last thing that we learned about was ratios, and we're going to continue with that concept today. So we have a little review here. A ratio is a comparison of two or more quantities. We learned about that before we went on leave. And an example of that is right here, like wins to losses. So when we were comparing those brackets in class before we left, we were comparing ratios. We were also comparing right here wins to games played. And so we talked about that before we went on break. We talked a little bit about what a rate was. It's a ratio that compares two quantities with different units. Here is the key, is that the units are different. So here is an example, miles per hour, and also $5 like per pound. So the reason why this is a rate is because the units are different. You're comparing miles and hours. Those are not the same units. And on this one here, you're comparing dollars to pounds. So that's different. The type of ratio that we're going to talk about today is a unit rate. So what I want you to do now that we're at unit rate, which is our focus today, is I want you to copy this part into your notes, okay? So if you need to pause the video, you can to get your note-taking notebook, and this is going to go right after those notes that you put in from our last video. So a unit rate is it's a rate that is in what we call lowest terms. So we can also say that it's a simplified rate. And remember, this is the part where you should be writing down in your note-taking notebook. Okay. It is also when the denominator is equal to, here's the key right now, 1. It's when you're finding one of something. The denominator is 1. I'm going to make 1 a think bubble because that's going to be really important. The 1 comes from right here. Unit means 1, that you're finding one of something, okay? So in a unit rate, the denominator, let's make this a star, the denominator is always 1. Is always 1. And then make that one a think bubble so you know that that's the key there, okay? Now let's talk about how you're going to find a unit rate, because sometimes you're going to be given rates and they're not going to be in the form of a unit rate, but you're going to want to put them in a form of a unit rate. So let's take a rate first. Let's take 100 miles for every 2 hours. So let's say someone's driving 100 miles every 2 hours or something like that. And this is a rate because the units are different. You have miles on top and hours on bottom. It's not the same thing. So that's the definition of a rate. But I want you to find the unit rate. So in order to find the unit rate, you need to make that denominator 1. Right now, the denominator is not 1, it's 2. So I want this to become 1. So the way that I can do that is I can divide the top and the bottom by the bottom number. The bottom number right here is 2. So 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. If I divide the top number, I get 50 because 100 divided by 2 equals 50. So the unit rate is 50 miles per 1 hour. This is the unit rate. Okay, so let's write a rule for that. So in order to find the unit rate, you would divide both terms by the bottom number or the denominator. So the bottom number on this one was 2, so I divided the top and the bottom by 2. So here is going to be your rule when you have to look back, okay? Okay, let's do one more example by switching to a unit rate. Let's say that you had that same rate that we used up there. Let's say you had $5. They were charging $5 for like 2 pounds of oranges, something like that, okay? And you want to find the unit rate. The unit rate, remember, the denominator must be 1. So I want to make this denominator 1. The way that I do that is I can use the rule, divide both terms by the bottom number. The bottom number is 2, so I'm going to divide the bottom by 2, and I'm going to divide the top by 2. Now, 5 divided by 2 is not, doesn't go in evenly, like 2 does not go into 5 evenly, but we can kind of think about this without having to set it up. So I'm going to split $5 in half. So I know that if I split it $4 in half, I get $2. And I just have one more dollar to split in half, and half of a dollar is 50 cents. You could also do the long division. So you could go 5 divided by 2. Okay, and then 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 5 is 4. Something strange. Bring down the 0 hero. It goes in 5 times. And I put a 0 there to hold the space because we're talking about money. Okay. Okay, so that is rate, unit rate, okay? What you're going to have to do for unit rate and what you're going to have to do for your assignment is you're going to have to find what we call the better buy. So we use unit rate a lot to help us figure out what is better to buy, like when we're comparing prices. We also use unit rate to make things simpler because it's easier to compare things when we can see one of each thing. So let's say that you went to the ice cream store. Hopefully when all this is over, we can all go get ice cream. And let's say they had 2 different options for you. And so the first option was that you could pay $3.49 and you would get 3 scoops of ice cream. Okay. Or you could pay $2.79 for 2 scoops of ice cream. Okay. I want to know which one is the better buy. Which one is cheaper? Which one is like worth your money? Which one do you get more for your money? So what I want to do is I want to find the unit rate. So I'm going to find the unit rate. Remember, the unit rate is for 1. Okay. And this is what you're going to have to do on your activity after you watch this video. So make sure you really pay attention to this part. Okay. So I'm going to first find the unit rate for the 3 scoops. So in order to do that, I need to divide the top and the bottom by the bottom number, which is 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. I know that. The top number is the numerator is the one that's going to give me more work. So I have to go $3.49 divided by 3. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and float my decimal at the top so I don't forget. And remember, we're talking about money. So we're going to actually stop in the hundredths place because money doesn't go farther than the hundredths place. So 3 goes into 3 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. I'm going to bring down that 4. 3 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. I bring down the 9. 3 goes into 19. The closest I can get into that is 6. And 6 times 3 is 18. And I have 1 left over. Now, normally I would keep going, but I'm going to stop there because I'm talking about money and I can stop in the hundredths place. So right now, for this one here, I would be paying $1.16 for 1 scoop. Okay. So now I'm going to do the other one in red so you can see the difference. I'm going to find the unit rate for the second one, for the 2 scoops. So remember, I have to divide the top and the bottom by the bottom number, the denominator. I know the denominator is going to be 1 because 2 divided by 2 is 1, but I have to figure out the top one. So $2.79 divided by 2. Okay, I'm going to float my decimal to the top. 2 goes into 2 once. 1 times 2 is 2. I'm going to bring down my 7. 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6, and I'm going to subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. I'm going to bring down my 9. And then 2 goes into 19. The closest I can get to that is 9. 9 times 2 is 18, and I have a 1 left over. I'm going to stop there because once again, I am dealing with money, and so I can stop in the hundreds place. And I can already see which one is the better buy. This one, they're charging me $1.39 for 1 scoop. So as you can see, the one in blue is actually the better buy, because I'm only paying $1.16 for 1 scoop, and on the other side, if I buy the 2 scoop deal, I'm paying $1.39, which is like what, a whole 18 cents more, something like that. But anyways, this one is the better buy, the blue one. So you found that out by finding the unit rate. So hopefully the video was clear to you. If you need to go back and rewatch it, you can go back and rewatch it right now. And remember that this is where you should start writing in your notebook so that you can use it to go over your activity. Your activity is going to be in Google Classroom. So once you have these notes down, make sure that you head over to Google Classroom to complete your activity. I will see you soon.